Hello and welcome to another season of Chatting with the Cardinals. My name is John Washington. I am the assistant AD for external here at Lamar University. We have a great show for you guys today, but first, just want to give a big shout out to MCT Credit Union for being today's sponsor. MCT, grow with us. All right, I'm also joined today by co-host Derek Schramm. Derek, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello. I'm Derek Stram, manager of ticket sales and service, and I'm excited to be a part of this.
All right, we're glad to have you. Glad to have you. All right, we actually have a really, really awesome guest with us today. We're going to go into depth with a lot of different things today. He is the AD for Lamar University Athletics, Mr. Marco Bourne. How you doing today, Marco?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. So let's get right into it. The last few months, there's been a lot of stuff going on. Seasons being canceled, dealing with the pandemic, obviously the social justice part of it too. So can you just talk about how the landscape of athletics has changed and how things have changed here at Lamar specifically?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's been a wild 6 months or so, and I think we all remember. I think it was March the 12th when we were in Katy at the basketball tournament for the Southern Conference Championships, and things kind of unraveled there, and the tournament got canceled, and shortly after the NCAA tournament got canceled, and then we went kind of in a great, crazy summer with quarantining and working from at home, and yeah, lots has happened since then. We've had our fall seasons in football, volleyball, soccer, and cross country postponed to the spring. We tried to play some football this fall, but that didn't happen. But we are competing in some of the sports this fall, so that's exciting. But yeah, the landscape has changed quite a bit. We had a lot of budget discussions since then, a lot of not so fun conversations, but we're not the only one. That's what I keep telling myself and everybody else, that we're in a global pandemic, and then everybody's dealing with the same thing in relation to college athletics more specifically. So it's been interesting but challenging, and we've had a lot of things going on. Recruiting has been in what's called a dead period for a long time, and just extended it yesterday till January 1st. So our coaches are to adjust and and learn how to use different means to communicate with the recruits. So just yeah, lots going on, but proud of our staff and how they've handled all of those things, and you guys and our coaches and our student athletes as well. So it's been an interesting summer, but proud of them.
Marco, you mentioned budget. How have things changed financially
Sure.
for Lamar Athletics?
Yeah. It's been challenging for sure. The NCAA basketball tournament being canceled, that's a big driver for college athletics. So that's about close to over $1 million that we get from the NCAA every year in our funding, besides what the university gives us, and revenue that we generate on our own, that you, Derek, are a big part of on the ticket sales side of things. But that has been cut by 70% this year. The $1 million. So we're down from $1 million to about 300. So that was a big piece. And then testing. We're required to test on a regular basis with our student athletes and the NCAA, and that's a big price tag that we have to add on. And then you add on to that the cancellation of our football game against Rice. That was a big money maker for us, and depending what happens in basketball. So it's a challenging time. So we've had to make some adjustments from a budgetary standpoint, but at the same time, like I've told you all before, when we started all this in March, look at it as an opportunity, trying to be creative, trying to look at different things that we're going to do here in the fall without having any games at home, and trying to minimize the impact. But yeah, the impact has been felt, and I think it's an opportunity for us to re-engage our fans in a different way, and for them to step up and support us financially, and at the same time, realizing that they're hurting too. It's not just us that is having issues with this pandemic. It's everybody, but we just got to communicate that, and trying to make it less challenging than it probably is.
Can you speak a little bit about some of the measures that are already in place that you've implemented
Sure.
to kind of help us out of this situation
Yeah.
so far?
Yeah, so we have cut back on our summer school this past summer. Usually we have our entire football team, basketball, and some other sports in summer school. So this past summer, which that was our old fiscal year that we just came out of, we cut that short quite a bit, and that was unusual. We had some of the student athletes obviously take classes online, but there were less of them were here on campus. So we cut back on that last year. We we made some decisions on what's called cost of attendance. The additional support that the NCAA allows us to give our student athletes past their scholarships. We cut back on that quite a bit. We've had what's called on a hiring pause or hiring freeze. I wouldn't call it a freeze; it's a pause. But we've put some positions on hold that we haven't had to lay off anybody or furlough anybody, but we've been able to hold on to some position that came open that we just haven't refilled, and we probably won't refill this fiscal year. That's some savings there, and then we've had budget cuts across the board within our department, and those were tough conversations to have with our coaches, but they've been very creative and in doing things differently. Football, for example, will not stay in a hotel this spring. During their season, they won't stay at a hotel on the Friday night on a home game, and then the 3 road games we're going to have in the spring, they're going to be a day trip. So we have quite a bit of savings there. They're just going to get in the bus, drive over, play the game, and come back. We decided a lot of those things at a conference level, so it's not just us. All of our opponents are having to do the same thing. If you're within 3 hours or 200 miles of your game, you drive the day off for basketball, volleyballs, for all the sports. So that's quite a bit of traveling savings. The recruiting debt period is, not being able to go out and go to recruits' living rooms and games, and them not coming here. There's some savings there as well. So naturally there'll be some savings, but that's kind of where we are. And at the same time, we're trying to bring in some revenue too, and putting some campaigns out there about supporting us financially, not just tickets, but donations and sponsorships. People are still, our corporate partners have been terrific on coming on board and continue to come on board and help us there. So we don't just have to make cuts. I think we can also make up some of the difference with some revenue for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Well, coming up, we'll talk a little bit about last Thursday's March on Campus, and kind of how that impacts campus and where we go from here. And a little bit later, we'll talk about the future of Lamar Cardinal athletics and what we see in the future. So
That's great.
All right, we'll take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
These may feel like uncertain times, but there's one thing we know for sure. Southeast Texans will get through this and come back closer and stronger than ever. At Provost Humphrey, we're still here, hard at work, ensuring the people of our community are living and working safely, and letting them know they will always have someone in their corner. Southeast Texas, we've got your back. Provost Humphrey, lawyers at work, locals at heart.
All right, so Marco, last Thursday, there was a march on campus organized by the women's basketball team. Can you kind of talk a little bit about how that came to be, and also just how campus is embracing our student athletes and some of the things that they've been standing up for in the last couple of months?
Sure. Yeah, very, very proud of our student athletes and specifically our women's basketball team and our student athletes for stepping up and coming forward and to organize this march, peaceful march that we had last Thursday. And Coach Aqua came to me right after Hurricane Laura came through, and just told me that her student athletes felt really strongly about organizing a march. And so we talked about it. I said, what are you trying to accomplish with it? And I told them I was very proud of them for stepping up and bringing the idea forward. So we worked with campus, and campus has, ever since this movement has started, they've embraced it very much. And we've have some committees on campus that have laid out some things. We've kind of created an internal committee in our department that talks a lot about those things. And it was great to see our student athletes, not just our women's basketball team, but I think we had about, you guys were part of it, but 200, 300 student athletes, march. It was a long march. They picked a big, long route, but it was a hot afternoon. But it was really great to see. I thought the speeches that we had afterwards were really great. Very straight to the point, and what they were trying to accomplish for change. And I thought Dr. Evans being part of it, our president, and coming up and speaking and just commending them for what they did. And I couldn't be proud of what they do. I told them also, let's just don't do this march and that's it. We want to continue to have this conversation and create meaningful change in our society and work for equality and social justice and really, really proud of what they've done. We're going to do some more things with voter education and those kind of things moving forward. And really proud of what they've done there. And we're looking forward to continue that conversation.
Can you? I mean, obviously you marched with them.
Mhm.
Can you talk about how having somebody in leadership like yourself, what kind of message that sends to your student athletes,
Yeah,
and the ways that it kind of affects the whole movement and
yeah.
the change that you're trying to affect?
Yeah, I think it's a it's an important statement that and not just me, but we had head coaches in there, we had other administrators be part of it. I think that was I could see that the student athletes were really happy and I think it was important for them to see that and again at the end of the day we're all in this together and we should all just get along. I mean that's kind of what I kept telling them is you know uh, I hated that it has to come to this now that we have to do those things, but we just all need to respect each other and we're all in this together and be part of this. So yeah, I think it sends a good, really good message for our student athletes that our university leadership is part of that and that we respect each other and we're all equal.
And I know another thing that's actually happening very soon is you're going to talk to a bunch of the student athletes about voting and
Hmm.
how to register,
Yeah,
how to vote
yeah,
in the state. So can you talk a little bit about some of those actionable things that are
yeah,
going on?
yeah, yeah. We're actually here this week. We're going to have a call with a group of coaches. One of our former basketball coaches, Tommy Strine, is leading that, and it talks about that they're going to get educated on how to register to vote and why it's important to vote and the whole process of all of this. And that's a big thing. And then campus is doing a lot of things and for not just our student athletes, our entire student body um, to get everybody educated on what that looks like. And then I believe the Montaigne Center is actually a voting location on November 3rd. So all of those things I think really are really important and I think a positive change in all of those things. And the November 3rd is also going to be a day off for athletic competition at the NCAA level. So our student athletes will they'll go to class, obviously, but they won't have any practice or competition that day. And that allows them to exercise their right to vote, or if they want to volunteer to voting booth and those kind of things. I think that's sends a really great message that it's important to exercise that right that you have to vote.
Yeah, I mean those are all great things. I couldn't be more proud to be associated with Lamar in his
Great.
athletic department, um, especially during that march
Yeah.
last week. Keeping the focus on student athletes, we think about everything that they've been through since March, going home early, seasons being canceled, the pandemic,
Mhm.
coming back this August, thinking that they're going to be playing sports. Those get postponed. How have the student athletes been able to handle everything going
Sure.
on the past few months?
Yeah, you probably need to ask them that question, but no, I'm very proud of how they've all handled that. From and we've talked about this a lot internally, but when everything happened in March and you take away their, I mean, you literally pulling kids off the floor. I mean, we weren't playing, but there were two teams that were literally getting ready to tip off in Katy, and we pull them off the floor, and the season is over, and they don't know, am I gonna get my year of eligibility back? Am I done here as a senior? And all those mental health issues that come with that. And even before this pandemic, we talked a lot about mental health and all the different things that our student athletes have to deal with. Not just going to class, practicing, the pressure of being a starter or being moved to the bench and making good grades, and then you add all the social media pressure. You add all these other things that are going on in this world um, that just weigh on them. So we've spent a lot of time even before this pandemic on the mental health piece. We've created a committee internally where we watch our student athletes how they react. We talk about we probably need to keep an eye on these student athletes and that's become even more and more important to make sure they're okay. And then you take them away from their routine of being on campus. We send them home, right? We want them to work out from at home, and they're supposed to do their class online, but really they're used to going to the classroom. So just a lot of things that are not really working in their favor, but they've handled it tremendously. Just we had our best semester academically this spring, considering everything and above a 3.0 from a GPA standpoint. They've handled that fantastic. They have never complained about anything, at least to me. I know I'm sure they are to some others, but just really, really proud of the way they've coped with all those things, and we put a lot of things in place for them, and we stressed it all the time. You know, John, you're on our calls all the time with the head coaches and talking about mental health, checking in with them, and it's been a learning process for our coaches, our staff, and at the same time we talk about make sure you check in on your coaches or your staff members, and because it's not easy on all of us, right? With we all had to work from home and sit in our guest rooms or living rooms or wherever your wife or spouse sent you to do your Zoom calls from, and that's different, right? So it's been stressful on all of us, and but really proud of the way everybody's handled that so far.
All right, we'll take another quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll just talk about the future of Lamar Athletics and some of the things that we have coming up.
Sounds good.
These may feel like uncertain times, but there's one thing we know for sure. Southeast Texans will get through this and come back closer and stronger than ever. At Provost Humphrey, we're still here, hard at work, ensuring the people of our community are living and working safely, and letting them know they will always have someone in their corner. Southeast Texas, we've got your back. Provost Humphrey, lawyers at work, locals at heart.
All right, so the last thing we want to kind of discuss is the future of Cardinal athletics, and what kind of things we have coming up. And I think all three of us have many things we could talk about. But obviously, this is one, bringing the podcast back and having sponsors and stuff like that. But can you speak to maybe some other things that the future that you see?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think that what we're doing here today, the podcast, is terrific, and thanks to MCT for helping us with this, and they've been a great partner of ours for years, for a long time, and just I think it's a great thing to kind of share with our fans in a different way what's going on, since we won't really have any sporting events this fall at home. I know you guys are working a lot of things, and Derek and the staff are as well, and we're trying to stay relevant with our fans during this time, again with no home sporting events, but looking to do some virtual 5Ks, not a couple, but I think just one, but just some virtual events. I think we're looking to do maybe some movie nights in the fall, and I know you guys are working on those. And we're going to roll out a fundraising campaign with a giving day on October 1st, calling it Fly with LU, and I'm hoping that people will jump on board there and continue to support us financially, and hopefully step up and increase their gifts. Because we don't need it. We outlined it in the very beginning about our financial challenges that all of this has brought to us, and to support our student athletes, we need to continue people to step up and support us in whatever way they can. And our corporate partners have stepped up quite a bit already, and we're looking forward to continue to do that. And but yeah, anything we can do with those things in the fall, trying to stay relevant in front of our fans, I think is important, and it's something we'll do here pretty soon. And announcing our football schedule here sometime next week, I think, is a big thing for the spring. We'll have 3 home games at home and 3 on the road, and I think it'll be really exciting. It'll be different, but I think really exciting for our fans to see some football in Provost Humphrey Stadium, and watching Blaine Morgan and his staff and our student athletes compete. And the same with volleyball, soccer. They'll roll out a schedule as well in the spring, and there'll be plenty of opportunities for people to watch sporting events. And I know Derek is working on a whole lot of creative ticket packages, and so that's kind of what I look forward to here in the fall and the spring, and hope people stay engaged with us. And we'll have some football practices in the fall. They'll get to do some spring ball this fall with a spring game in the fall, a fall game, I guess, right around Halloween, I believe. So there'll be some creative ways for us to engage our fans and keep us in front of them. So that's what I look forward to.
Now, speaking of all the events being at one time, I think Derek definitely wants to talk about this. We definitely had to and him in particular, really thought outside the box and came up with a couple things that I think we're going to be doing here. So, Derek, you want to kind of speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. 2020, it's all about pivoting. I think that's one of the key phrases, and trying to stay relevant and be nimble. So one of the ideas we came up with is an all sports fast for the spring. Once we got the word that everything's moving to the spring, a lot of games happening at the same time. So we will be announcing an all sports spring pass where you get admission to every single LU athletic event in the spring. So if you love sports, if you love LU athletics, it'll be the package for you. If you've been missing sports, you're going to get plenty of it. In addition to that, with football being moved to 2021, we're looking at offering our season ticket holders and fans opportunity to basically combine 2 seasons worth of football into one package. So also be on the lookout for that information too. But yeah, we're excited to offer some new things, and I'm sure we're just scratching the surface.
Absolutely, and I think on the marketing side, you'll also see, like Marco already spoke about, just other events with virtual events that we'll have coming up. You'll also see us doing more and more things on social media. We're going to start pushing a lot of our licensed merchandise. I know that's something that's been a big thing the last couple of weeks. So you guys will see a lot more of that, and we'll continue to update everybody with our emails and everything like that as well. So, which I think a lot of fans have received that really well. So you guys will see many of those other things. We'll also, for that October 1st Giving Day event, we'll actually have a live stream that day as well. We'll probably actually do it in this room again, but we'll have a live show to kind of accompany that, and you'll see more stuff from us like that. Another question for you, Marco, just can you talk about, where do you see Lamar kind of after we get out of this situation? Like, what's the 5-year, the 10-year kind of, what's that projection look like to you?
Well, I'm still very optimistic. We one thing that I'm really proud of, that even though we haven't had any sporting events since March, and it's been a lot of, to Derek's point, pivoting and adjusting and Zoom calls and all changes like every day almost. But I feel like we've still made a lot of progress already, not just as a staff and a department, but our coaches have embraced a different way of recruiting, with Zooming and FaceTiming and all the social media presence that our teams have put together. I think we've really continued to grow and advance. So I feel like whenever we get out of this pandemic and we get back to normal, we're going to be really well positioned with everything that we've laid groundwork to your point about the licensed material and licensed merchandise that we got. Whenever we get back to normal, I think we've laid some really good groundwork for that. And I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about where our teams will be. I think it'll be interesting with all the extra years of eligibility that everybody has, but I think it allows our teams to continue to be really, really competitive. And I can't wait for our football team to play a game, and for Blaine and his staff to really implement their culture in our program, and the kind of kids that they're recruiting. I'm really, really excited about, and I encourage our fans to do that. And watching Aqua and Tick practice, I think I'm excited about those prospects, and Jordan Lane volleyball. I think he's building a really great program, and Steve and soccer is really continuing to do the great things, and all of our other sports are. I expect them to really compete, and they're all laying great groundwork. So what the next 5 and 10 years look like, I'm not sure, but I'm excited to get back to that, and I think we're just going to continue to grow, and feel like we have the best product and the best environment in our league. I think dominating the Southern Conference is always the goal, and that's what I'm looking forward to. And whenever that normal comes back to, but can't wait. And while we're in the new normal, I'm excited for that too. It's going to be a little different the way our facilities will feel, and the way our games may feel from a setup with the social distancing and the masking and everything else. But I feel like everybody's embraced it by now, and I can't wait to see us do that. So,
all right. Well, any final last thoughts?
No, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate our fans listening in. Thanks to MCT for helping us with this, and I look forward to people to stay in touch with us in the fall. And I encourage people to do that, and we'll do our part to be in front of them. So hopefully they'll return the favor and support us and continue to support us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for joining us today. Just another reminder, if you are watching this on YouTube or Facebook, there's also the audio version on Spotify. We're working on Apple Music. We'll get there. And Apple Podcasts. We'll get there soon. But thank you guys for joining us. Also, if there's any other information that you're looking for, go to lamarcardinals.com and All of our schedules will be updated as we get them, which has been something else unique, just changing those schedules around quite often. But you guys will start seeing the updates for football and basketball here hopefully really soon. Once again, thank you for joining us again, Marco. Thanks, Derek, for everything today. Thank you again to MCT. Appreciate the support. And we will see you guys next time. And go Cards.
Go Cards.
Go Cards.